So we asked a question that is an important question for everyone who cares about energy and transportation, which is, can developing countries take a lead in the EV revolution, in the EV transition? As you know, these are very exciting times. We are in the middle of a big disruption, and disruptions are very exciting, but they are also very scary, because for the first time, the end of the internal combustion engine is within sight. You know, this is an era that is going to come to a close. As we heard a few minutes ago, it's not about, the question is not whether it's going to happen, but how fast and who's going to lead.
We just heard from Kyrgyzstan, there is a 15 electric vehicle running. They need 1 million. The question we are trying to answer is, can they and how do we lead? And specifically in this particular question is that if electric vehicle doesn't get adopted by the developing countries, they will fall behind, because it brings a lot of advantages in terms of pollution and other things. Yes, they will fall behind, and that's why they need research and development, they need technology transfer, they need not to take unnecessary risk.
The best electric vehicle in the world is now manufactured in Asia and not in the West. That means that technology is not about transfer, but it's about collaboration. That means South-South, developing countries linking with other developing countries are now creating partnerships to develop their own particular business models and electric vehicles, rather than, as I said, a mass-produced and financed kind of model that is very hard to import, is very hard to service our particular and customized needs, and at the same time, we're not sure if this is something that we can adapt, because it's just, usually they scale just 1 or 2 types of models, wherein we need several types for our developing systems.
As Sohail has pointed out, developed countries do have the resources to engage in research and to continue improving the technology, and leading doesn't mean cutting the other person or group or country off. Developed countries can lead to raise awareness and understanding of the technologies which may not yet be readily available in developing countries. You were talking about how there is technology already available, yes, but again, collaboration definitely, but again, let's focus on the fact, on the topic. Can developing countries really lead the adoption of electric vehicles? And what we're saying is, yes, definitely collaborate, but lead, can they really at this point? Cannot.
I mean, maybe to developing countries no need to lead in electric vehicles. Maybe they need to more focus on where they have competitive advantage in other products maybe. So in Kyrgyz case, maybe we will well enough to producing or establish assembly line of electric vehicles. Not electric vehicles, maybe electric charging devices, it will be enough. So in this case, I think there's no need to lead.
So one of the concepts that a lot of developing countries struggle with is the question of incremental change things little by little, versus transformational change. So one of the key concepts there is leapfrogging. So when you have to think about your fleets, do you go for cleaner fuels, a little bit of cleaner gasoline, a little bit of cleaner diesel, or do you say, you know what, let's just leapfrog and go for electric, zero emissions?
But the question is, what is leapfrogging? Afghanistan never had black and white television. They leapfrogged straight to color. But there was something called color they leapfrogged to. You do not leapfrog into unknown.
In the developing world, we get all the vehicles on electricity. How much infrastructure and generation do we need? And how much will that cost? And will that generation be coal-based? In which case we are just shifting the emissions from the use to coal, or if it will be renewable. And if it will be all renewable, then is the grid ready to accept or integrate all that intermittent renewable?
So in terms of energy generation, I think at least from India's point of view, there is no new addition of coal-based plants. It's all solar and wind power that they are shifting to. And there's an aggressive push towards shifting to renewables. The main issue there is how do you store energy? So they're extremely seasonal. For example, solar is only produced during the day, and wind is produced when there is wind. So they are talking about combining electric vehicles along with the power generation from solar and wind energy. So the idea is you reduce the tariff during peak production from renewables, and then you can increase the tariff during peak demand period. So what it does is it will encourage people to charge their vehicles from the grid when there is solar and wind, which is when it is abundantly available, and discourage them, probably increase the tariff to such a point where the EV demand is lower.
So we are ready for electric vehicles in developing countries, and for the last mile delivery segment it makes perfect sense. We have people who are coming to, we have customers who are coming to us to ask for electrifying their fleet to reduce their operational cost and not just for the environmental concern. So once it makes economic sense, I think the development cycle will be sustainable.
Never before in our lifetime did we get these technologies to be so ready for use. So they are there. Second, we are rethinking our relationship with oil and petroleum and gasoline, diesel. And the other element that is extremely powerful is that no matter whether you are in Manila or in Beijing or in Santiago de Chile or in San Jose, Costa Rica or somewhere in Africa, people are tired of air pollution. Mothers are tired of children coughing with asthma or problems, or elderly people. And this is an opportunity to get several things right: the transport, the energy, the urban agenda, and it's really exciting.